Good afternoon. It's another Thursday here at the Clarion Chats podcast room. I am your host for today, Jay, and I'm here with our beloved guest, our lieutenant from the Sinclair Police. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Andy Mays.
Yes. So our lieutenant Andy here has been talking with the Clarion for a little while. We've been meaning to get some police force here. We didn't know who we were going to get. It was like a little surprise treat, but we ended up having Andy here with us. I am familiar with the Sinclair Police a lot because over the summer I used to work. I still do work here at the Clarion, but in the summer when it was way emptier, I used to be the one opening and closing the room. So I would go pick up the key, and I would come here a lot. So it got to the point that I got to the police station, and I need to say no more. Just give me our turn ID. Here's the key. We already know who you are.
Well, once we get to know you, it's a lot easier.
Yeah. And but yeah. So before we get to this interview, just some quick updates on the podcast. First thing, very sad news, unfortunately. As you can see, Jojo's not here today, and I will not be here for the next semester. Part of it is because due to internship stuff that we have to do with our majors, I'm not going to be having enough hours to be working at the Clarion anymore. So this semester is going to be my last one here, which is unfortunate, but I think I had a good run. I like my time here, and I think it's been a pleasure. And I'm just going to be here in the podcast for as long as I can in this, sitting in this chair. But starting in the spring, I won't be here anymore unless they want me for guests, which, I gladly come back. But yeah, so October is here, and so is our new edition. You can see here. Could you pick that up for me, please? This first copy. Yeah, that's right. See, we have a new edition that just came out. I am putting them on the racks this week. So as you are hearing this podcast, watching this video on YouTube, or listening to it on Spotify, you might be interested in getting yourself a copy. You can find them all around the campus. We actually had more racks being placed in new places around the campus. We have 2 new ones in Building 12. We have 1 in Building 11, 1 in Building 9, 1 all the way in Building 19, which I think you are familiar with Building 19, right?
Yep. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Police Academy.
Yeah, that's the academy. And so, yeah, you can find them anywhere. So please do pick it up, read it. I didn't have time to read it yet because it's been such a busy week, but I've heard the stories there are great. Not because I wrote a few of them, but the other ones are also very nice. And in our social media, we are still going on with our celebration of LGBTQ History Month and also Halloween, where we'll be having little fun facts every week and every day, respectively, on our social media. So you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram and on Twitter, or I guess X, formerly known as Twitter, at Sinclair Clarion. And of course, if you're listening to this on Spotify, the video recording of our episode is going to be up on YouTube at Sinclair Clarion as well. But yeah, that's all that I needed to give as updates. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this episode, our interview with Mr. Andy here. So, already said, you are the lieutenant. Your name is Andy, but talk a little bit more about yourself, who you are.
So, first of all, I've been here at Sinclair for almost 10 years. I come up on my 10-year, anniversary per se, in May of next year. So,
okay,
getting close to that. And, been married for coming up on 10 years as well. And I have 4 kids at home.
Okay. Big family, huh?
Oh, big family.
Yeah, I only have one. I have one sibling, and I think that's sometimes feels like a little full house for kids. That's nice. And congratulations on both the police anniversary and on the wedding anniversary coming up. Yeah, 10 years. It's a lot of time to be at police, and so that answers my question that I was wanting to make is how long have you been here in the workforce? But so you were the lieutenant, right?
Correct.
So when speaking of the police levels of service or hierarchy or whatever you call it, what does a lieutenant do?
So we are a shift lieutenant. So we are there to control the day-to-day operations for the officers. So I'm in charge of the day shift officers, and so I help schedule, read reports, anything that needs a supervisor. If we have to go to a call, I would be the one that shows up on day shift.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, there was this one day that you guys helped me because I got locked out of the Clarion room here. I was doing
Yep.
distribution and came back there, was locked, had to call campus police, and they always help. But I will be taking this opportunity to apologize because that day, after one of you guys came and opened the door, I needed to go to the bathroom. They just left, and I forgot to turn the latch on the
Yep.
door, and the door locked behind me as I left to go to the bathroom. So I had to call again, and I'm pretty sure the person didn't even made it back to the police station, and they had to come back as well.
Yeah.
I felt very embarrassed with that, but
You're not the first person to have that happen, and you
Good.
won't be the last.
good. It makes me feel so much better to know that. So, do you have any future plans here at Sinclair?
Always promote up. I don't know how high I want to promote it at this point,
Mhm.
but at least assistant chief or something like that in the future or distant future.
Gotcha.
So our rank goes chief, assistant chief, then lieutenant, then officers. So
Mhm.
there's not too many more steps for me to
Yeah, almost
go
there.
up, but
Mm.
I'm
Yeah,
getting close.
it's nice to always aim to go
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Yes, definitely. And so, talk a little bit about your educational background.
So I don't have a lot in educational background. I did get
Mhm.
my associates from here at Sinclair. I
Mhm.
graduated high school at Greenview High School out in Jamestown,
Mm-hmm.
which is where I still live. And I am currently taking my bachelor's courses at Franklin University.
Okay.
But I also have certificates in Supervisor Training Education Program, which is STEP,
Mhm.
which is a state of Ohio thing, and then also PELC, which is public. I can't even remember what it stands for. But it's like to step up from
Mhm.
STEP,
Mhm.
and it's another supervisor thing, and it just helps us become better supervisors and leaders.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you have an associate's of what?
Criminal justice.
Gotcha. And your bachelor's in the same field?
It would be criminal justice administration.
Okay. Oh, that's super cool. You said it's from Sinclair, right? Your associates.
Yeah, I got my associates here.
So you were over there in Building 9, right?
I did mainly online, so
Oh, mainly
I
online.
didn't have to step
Okay.
in.
Okay.
in
I
the
always thought
building.
Building 9 is an interesting building. I always think about it because every now and then I see the little kids passing by.
Yep.
I'm there for placing magazines now as well. So I know they have the whole daycare system there. It's very adorable, but I like the duality. You have like babies and you also have criminal justice in the same building.
Yep.
So I think that's funny.
They also have the vet tech in there too.
That's
the
true.
veterinary Tech, so
That's true. Vet's also there. And have you ever studied? Did you have anything in Building 19? Because I think that's a very interesting building. Because when I mention that to people, they're not aware of even where it is. So
correct. It's one of those buildings real outside of our campus, so
Mhm.
it's kind of not well known. I did not take the academy here. I went through Greene County's academy.
Okay.
But I do talk to like some of the instructors over there, the
Mhm.
commander, which is Joe Niehaus.
Mhm.
So I am well versed in Building 9, just haven't taken a class there.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, and so before being a police officer here at Sinclair, were you working in police anywhere else?
Yeah, Jamestown PD got me my first commission.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Okay. Yeah, so of course you're being a policeman and all for 10 years only here at Sinclair. That totals how much? How long have you been?
A little over 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah, because I did a little bit with Juvenile Detention Center out in Greene County, which
Mhm.
is more or less the juvenile jail system.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a detention counselor with them for a little bit before, so that kind of helped counted a little bit towards a lot of my numbers as well.
Gotcha. So that is a lot of time to be doing a profession. So I believe when you do that thing for so long, it's because you really like it. But do you have any other aspirations? Or is there anything that I would do if I weren't a police officer?
So if I wasn't a police officer today, I would actually want to own a food truck and run a food truck.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You cook?
I love to cook.
What do you like to cook?
I actually smoke meat.
Uh-huh.
I do a lot of the smoking and barbecue style stuff. So
Uh-huh.
that's my passion. Is
Awesome.
that side. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, barbecuing is fantastic. And I like America's, the United States take on barbecue. It's very interesting because it's very different from where I'm from. And you mentioned food trucks, and Jojo is not here today, but man, I would have already looked at him and mentioned, because there's this taco truck that we go to. It's just phenomenal food. It's by the West Carrollton BMV. And I went there a couple of times, and it kind of became a tradition to go there every Tuesday. And then I introduced that to Jojo, and he fell in love with it. And we go there more than once a week.
I gotcha.
So yeah. Which I'm kind of sad that he's not here today, because he would have probably said, "Hey, let's go eat some tacos after we're done recording this."
Yeah.
But yeah, food trucks are nice. I think it's a fun way for you to get like your cooking skills out.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like it's food, and when food is well made, everyone likes to eat.
Correct.
But smoking meat, okay, yeah. So, but let's not talk about food anymore because it is already like 12:30. So I hope you had lunch. I
yeah.
didn't, so I don't want to think about food trucks right now. I don't want to think about tacos. I don't want to think about smoked meat. I'm fine. Let's go back to police officer. A less appetizing profession, that's for sure, but still a good one. So I believe you have things that you can talk about your job that you like doing.
Yeah. So being in the community is one of our main focus, and one of my main focuses right now, which is why we're doing this podcast, is just so the community gets to know us a little bit more. But being in part of the community and getting to know people and departments, and just letting them know that we're there to help them whenever they need help is just icing on the cake for us.
Yeah.
The group of officers that we have now just absolutely love a lot of the community initiative stuff that we're doing. And just being there for a community is just rewarding as all get out.
Yeah, that's great. And so when are you available for students at Sinclair?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
When are you available? When's the police available?
We're 24/7, 365. We're even here on holidays.
Wow.
Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, we all have a couple officers here just to make sure that the campus is safe all the time.
Oh, that's impressive work. I had to come here on a Saturday. I think it was just before the semester started, because I had to do delivery of one of the magazines for, I think it was that Barbie one. Yeah, it was a Barbie one. And the problem is that usually do distributions on Fridays.
Yeah.
Unless the magazine comes a little early, then we do that earlier. But this one came on a Friday. I wasn't here on a Friday. I was out. Since I was working, I took 3 days out for a little vacation trip, and that's like when a lot of things happen, including the magazine arriving. So I had to come on a Saturday to distribute the magazine. And I've never been to Sinclair on a Saturday, and it just feels like it's the most deserted place in town. Fortunately, I had the police to let me in, because I came here one time on a Saturday to show the campus around to a family member, and we could get to Building 10 because there was an event happening in Building 10. Yeah. But now I was on my own, and like all the doors are locked, and I have no idea where to go to get in. So could you tell us, so where can we find you?
Yeah, so we're on the first floor of Building 7 next to the campus store, kind of tucked into a corner. Yeah. We're back in that area.
And you also have a extension, right? For
the phones if you call from your cell phone, it's 937-512-2700. If you call from like a desk phone, you can actually dial 911 or 2700, and it'll come to us as well. Gotcha.
And there are also the emergency poles, right?
Yeah, we have blue lights throughout campus. I want to say, I actually can't remember the number we have, but you can hit that and it dials into our dispatch center. And then there's also wall phones periodically throughout the buildings. Yeah. And you can do the same thing with those. Yeah,
I remember the wall phones. That's where I called the police station twice in the span of 2 minutes because I locked myself out of the room. It was instantly. I'm gonna let that memory go now. But well, of course, all jobs have ups and downs. So is there anything about your job that sometimes you're just like, this is like, I'm not very fond of this part of the job, or something that happens and you're like, this is not nice?
I wouldn't necessarily say there's not one that I don't like. There's some that are maybe less thrilling as others. But I mean, all of it, it's just us helping our community. So it's all equally just as important. Just sometimes the stress level for that call is a lot less than other calls.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because Sinclair seems like a very safe place. It really is a nice campus because it's just it's not very uh, you don't hear a lot of bad things about it.
Yeah.
So that's good. Excuse me for 1 second, real quick. I just had a sudden gut feeling that something went wrong with my phone. Everything's fine. I just had a gut feeling like something bad there. But that's fine. We cut that in post. So, back to the interview. Well, that's part of your job, and to help people in need and be part of the community. And you do, I believe you guys are doing a fantastic job. I mean, I know you helped me a lot of times, and granted, my problems are not that big, but I'm sure that if something bad is to happen, we have the police available to help us.
Of course, yeah, we're always here.
But let's talk more about yourself. Let's leave the police in the corner of the campus store in Building 7, first floor, if you don't remember. And let's talk a bit more about yourself. So you said you smoke meat. That's right.
Correct.
Do you have any other fun facts about you?
I also, I mean, besides going to all my kids' sporting events and just being there with my kids, I like to do a lot of woodworking projects. So making furniture or like cutting boards, charcuterie boards, stuff like that.
Okay. What other furniture do you make?
I've made desks, beds. I'm trying to think. I made a Christmas tree stand that housed a Christmas tree or like a Christmas village, stuff like that. Yeah.
So where were you when we needed a bigger table for this podcast? This one came in out of like a miracle. I don't even remember where it comes from because over the summer and even before in the fall when we were not recording with video, we had a very, very small table. It was enough to fit 2 mics and the soundboard. But we were so close, and we're like, we cannot have guests here. It's I think I mentioned this before in one podcast. I'm remembering myself now, but you can even look at that little sign over there. That's our table. That was our table.
It does look a little small.
Yeah, it was tiny. But that's interesting. Woodwork, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just something that I was not expecting to hear. That's an interesting answer.
Yeah.
And do you ever do you sleep in a bed that you make or?
So I made one for my daughter.
Oh.
And I'm planning on making more for my kids. So woodworking kind of runs on my wife's side of the family.
Gotcha.
Her dad and grandpa are really good at it. So one bed that one of my daughters is sleeping in was made by her grandpa.
Oh, that's sweet.
And the crib that my son is in was made by her grandpa.
That is sweet.
And so we're trying to go through eventually and make something for all of them.
Oh, that is fantastic. Yeah. Well, nice. The only thing that my dad ever did to my grip was breaking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was one time that I was a little baby, and he tells me this story. My mom tells me this story. He's not very proud about that one. But he was putting me to sleep, and I wanted him to stay with me, right? So he had the brilliant idea to sleep with his son by jumping onto the crib. So, of course, he just broke the thing apart because he's like a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
So that's all that he did for my crib. But you said you go to sporting events with your kids. So what about you? Do you play any sports?
I used to. I don't play as much as I'd like to, but I was basketball, lacrosse, football, baseball.
Okay, so you did a lot.
Yeah.
And lacrosse, please refresh my memory because I heard the term going around, but I'm not familiar with it. So what is it?
It's kind of a combination, I would guess, of like soccer and hockey. So you have a net goal at each end, and then the guys carry around a stick with a net on it, and it's got a rubber ball.
Oh, okay.
But they're kind of dressed. They got pads like helmets, shoulder pads, arm and elbow pads, and I mean it's just kind of like that.
Is it violent like hockey?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you don't get into fights like hockey, but you can definitely hit people.
Oh, there's something in that ice. Then.
Yeah.
There's just something in the Zambonis. They just put something in that ice. I have never seen people that mad in a sport like this before.
Right.
Lacrosse. Oh, I was getting mistaken with cross country.
Yeah. They're running.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that's not it. But yeah. So, do you have any time to play sports nowadays?
just with my kids to help them practice. So
Gotcha.
just getting out, throwing the ball with my daughter when she wants to play softball, or my son when he wants to throw around baseball. Right now we have them signed up for start basketball soon, so they're going to
Great.
practice with that. And my youngest daughter just finished her cheerleading, so yep.
That's nice. Yeah, my brother does soccer now.
Yeah.
I have a younger brother, and he's doing soccer. His last game is this week before our season is over, because when it gets cold, you don't want to put these kids in the field outside, right?
Yep.
But I'm not very good at soccer, and being a Brazilian, I know this is kind of like humiliating to admit, especially in camera, that I'm not very good at soccer, but but I'm not. And I think he's already doing way better than I am. But do you have any time, besides being a police officer, being a dad, it must be very time consuming, but do you have any time for like watching movies or reading books?
So I do read and I do watch. I would say probably more TV shows than movies, but I do catch occasional movie.
Anything you're watching right now?
Right now I'm finishing up Sons of Anarchy for the second time.
Okay.
But Yellowstone, Suits, stuff like that.
For the second time, you like it that much?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. My only contact that I had with Sons of Anarchy is that I had these couple of high school classmates that used to love it, so they would pretend that they were bikers. So they would get on their chairs that they had the wheels like these as well, right? So they would go around the classroom just making bike sounds whenever they could. That's my only contact with Sons of Anarchy. So I have the question: are there bikers in that show?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so is it about bikers? What's it about?
It's kind of like it's about like the biker gang and the biker lifestyle, which does not paint it in a very good picture, because it's like kind of mass chaos the whole time.
Gotcha. Do you ride a bike?
No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I never learned how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
But that's something that for some reason just showed up in the back of my mind earlier this year, and I'm like, you know what? I think I want to ride a bike. But let's see if I have time for that. I don't even know if because people here when they bike, the bike culture is also very interesting for me, because we see people going down the highway and like no helmets, no nothing, stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, that looks completely dangerous, but I can see the appeal of doing that. But that is very, very risky. Still, you wouldn't be able to pull something off like that in where I'm from.
Yeah. Some states have rules that you have to, or like laws that you have to wear a helmet while you're riding. Yeah. I don't think Ohio's not one of them though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Here you have a difference by state. That's right. That's right. I think I had this talk. Yeah, I had this talk actually a couple of weeks ago, because I wasn't here for the podcast. Oh, short tangent here. I was at a trip to Columbus with Sinclair. When they said it last episode, it made it sound like I was just dipping to go to, or sorry, not Columbus, Cleveland, to go to Cleveland for fun, but I wasn't. It was a business trip, okay? It was a very important business trip, so I don't want people to think that I was just not here because I was having fun. I mean, I was having fun. It was a business trip. It wasn't just a personal matter. But we had this conference about leadership, which Sinclair was invited to go. So a few selected students went, and I was one of the students. That's why I wasn't here. But back to the bike talk, we were talking about that because I think one of the person's relatives likes to ride around a bike, but she doesn't. So she, whenever they ask, "Hey, you want to go for a ride?" She always says, "No, I don't want to go for a ride." Unless you put me in a bunch of pads and and strap me with like 3 seat belts and take me to the seat, because it's not happening. And if I were to get a bike, I would only ride around like downtown or something. I would never get the highway on those things.
Right.
Too fast. I don't like it. You said you were also reading. Are you reading anything lately?
So I read an author, or a couple of different authors. David Badalci is one of my favorite authors, and also Vince Flynn, who doesn't actually write anymore. He unfortunately passed away of cancer. But Kyle Mills writes in his place and picked up where he left off. So they do kind of like it's nonfiction. Like CIA, a lot of law enforcement style stuff that just intrigues me. So,
yeah, and I mean it relates to what you're doing, so I can see how it appeals to you.
Yeah,
I mean it's it's part of your job. And I think, yeah, I was gonna say I read a lot of books about podcasting as well, but I don't. I don't even know if there are books about podcasting.
I'm sure there are somewhere.
Yeah, podcasters like to talk about podcasts a lot too. And any places that you like to go out to?
Well, with having 4 kids, it leaves me limited on that.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I mean, really, just hanging out with my family wherever we can, just is just where I like to go. So
gotcha. And whenever the kids want to go as well, right?
Usually, it's wherever the kids want to go.
They're. I mean, it's 4 against 2, so
Right,
I don't think
right.
you guys have much of a say in there, right?
Right.
So if it's McDonald's, it's McDonald's.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So now I have a little more personal question here. We got this one. So what does campus safety mean to you?
Just feeling safe in general. Like campus safety is like just being out in the community for them to see us, for them to be safe, for us to be able to, if we're there, we can see it and help with it, or if we get called there, we can help with it. But just being out and about and just being seen and just talking with the community and listening to what they need and what helps them to feel safe.
Yeah, that's perfect answer, really, because whenever we see police officers, at least where I'm from, whenever we see police officers, it means that something bad has happened.
Yeah.
You know, if they are there, it's because someone called them. If someone called them, something good or something bad is happening, which is not the case here. I see you guys walking around all the time, and you're just patrolling, just making sure that no one's getting hurt or anything. So just remember, people, these people are there for your safety. So if you ever need help, you can get a hold of them by the ways that we mentioned before, by the campus store, or you can call 937-512-2700. Do you have any relation? Does the police have any relation with the green vests?
Yeah, so we call them SIOs, or safety information officers. They also go by green coats is what they've been formerly known as. They are like our eyes and ears in buildings where we can't always be all the time. So we only have 12 full-time officers, which we don't run all the time. So we run maybe 2, 3, or 4, depending on the day. And so we have what we call the green coats, or the SIOs, in other buildings. That way they can keep an eye on things or help with door openings or lockouts, jump start, stuff like that. And then if anything else goes on, they can give our dispatch a call and send one of us out there.
Perfect. And does the police hire students?
Yeah, we do. We haven't in a while just because there's been lack of interest, but in the past we have hired student officers.
Okay. And do they need to be a specific major? Or I believe they have to get training?
We do a little bit of a training with them. That way we don't send them out there just to do whatever, but they will carry a radio, keys. They help us with like door openings. If people leave their property laying around, they'll pick it up and bring it back so we can keep it for safekeeping until the owner comes and picks it up. Yeah. That type of stuff.
That is true. They do have a lost and found as well. So once you find where the police station is, they have this big bin, right? This big blue bin that is a lost and found. So if you ever lost something, you might want to try to check there. I know that being also part of distribution means that I also have to deal with people leaving stuff on our racks. And sometimes it's accessories or like I found combs, I found sunglasses, I found hats. I don't know why someone would leave their hat there, but they left it there. So I have to bring it and I leave it at the lost and found bin. So if you ever lose something, luckily it's going to be there. So
and then with that blue bin, if it's nothing of value, it will go out in that blue bin. But like phones, tablets, earphones, stuff like that, that'll actually be in dispatch. If a wallet is found, it'll go to dispatch. That way the valuable stuff isn't being just taken by anybody.
Yeah. Oh, that makes total sense. That's yeah. I don't know. Yeah, sure. Let me just put my iPad here or this iPad that I found here in this bin, along with this like shoe. Yeah. And you also have the bin on one side. On the other side, you have this pill trash. I remember a policy came up during the summer about disposing of pills.
Yeah, we have a pill disposal pen. I was actually part of getting that installed.
Oh, okay.
So here on, I believe it's it's either the 21st or 28th, we have what we call National Pill Take Back Day, which is put on by the DEA, where you can drop off all your prescription medicine. So pills and powders can go into that bin. And then on the side of the pill bin, we also have a needle catch. So you can put any needles that you don't use anymore, or if you find one, something like that, you can have it put in there. The only thing we don't take is liquid medicine. That's because when we take it up to the DEA for them to put in an incinerator, it actually explodes if there's liquid in it.
Oh, okay.
It's highly flammable.
Yeah.
So they don't take that, but we do have pouches inside of our office that if you do have liquids at home that you need to dispose of, you can neutralize it in this pouch and then just throw it away.
Good to know. Good to know because, like I said, this happened during the summer, and I remember because I reported on it for one of the episodes of the podcast. But it's nice to be able to have the person that was behind planning these things coming here and explaining. And the thing about the liquids I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
I knew about the pills and I knew about the needles, but I did not know about the liquids.
Yeah, and the powder, like I said, if you have some kind of powder or whatever, it can go in there. It just can't be anything liquid.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I remember talking about it, and I remember saying, no liquids, go there. But now you know. So if you do have any liquids that you need to dispose of, they also can help you with that.
Yes.
So we talked about campus safety here. What would be one thing that you would like people to know about your job?
Some days it might seem like we're not approachable. We are always approachable. Some days might be rougher than others for some of our officers, just depending on what's going on. But they're always approachable. We're always there to help no matter what. And we do our best to be as understanding as we possibly can. Sometimes we do have a lot going on. Sometimes we don't. It's a very unique job being here. We don't have the same call volume as some of the other ones, but we also handle a lot of other different things that some of the other departments won't handle. Just being like a community college and a college in general. So it's a very unique job, and we like being out in our community.
Yeah, that is great. It's interesting to be able to just stay so close to a police force like that. I cannot remember if ever in my life I was at a university or at a college or at a high school or any educational institution, and I had such easy access to the police force like that. Does the fact that there's a police station literally across the street from Sinclair also affect something like that?
We try to work hand in hand with Dayton, and even Montgomery County has a sub office across the street. We try to do some trainings with them if we can. We try to keep. We always have constant communication with them of things that we might need information on or things they might need information on, and so we try to work really well together with each department.
Yeah, that is interesting because I was questioning. I was wondering because Sinclair Police. What's the difference from Sinclair Police to actual Dayton Police?
So the main difference is that our community that we patrol is a community inside of a community. So we're Sinclair Community College, which is our sole focus inside of Dayton. And so we constantly have to make them aware of stuff that we have going on just because it is kind of their territory as well. So we're here for our community inside of the community.
Gotcha. So this is not like a subdivision. Like you don't work for the
No,
Dayton
we don't
Police
work
Force.
for Dayton at all.
Okay, gotcha. So it's just a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Understood. Do you have any piece of advice that you'd like to give to our students?
One thing is just remember to always lock your cars, even if you don't have valuables in our parking garage, because we don't want anything to happen to your belongings that are in there. And then if you are on campus, make sure that you're not leaving your valuables unattended. We see that a lot, and if you could even if you have to go like to the bathroom or something like that, just take your stuff with you, because it only takes a second for your stuff to disappear, and we've seen it happen before.
Oh, I believe it has. Yes, we have in the library especially.
Yeah,
right.
Library, Tartan Market, those kind of places.
It's for me. I take my belongings very 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 serious. Coming where I come from, we learned this at a very young age to not leave our stuff unattended because the rule of thumb, at least where I'm from, is that if you leave something unattended, it's gonna be taken away.
Yeah.
And here, people are more trustworthy. You say, like, I think there's a different mentality. Because, for example, if I see an iPad laying around, I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna take this with me just because it's laying around.
Right.
But you never know who would think differently. When I'm in the library, I mean, even if I need to use the restroom real quick, I always I log out on my computer. And all these things when I'm using the library computers, because I just don't want to let my stuff out in the open for people to get access to it. But yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, be careful of your belongings, okay? Please, we don't want you losing anything that's important to you. But this has been a very interesting interview. Mr. Andrew, I appreciate you for taking time off your day to show up and answer some questions. We are very glad to have you here on the show. We have been talking about getting the police, like I mentioned at the beginning, for a little while now. So I'm glad that we're finally able to get together and do something. And if you ever want to come back, if there's anything that you need to, like, oh, we have this new policy, we want to talk about it, you can come. If you have any remarks that you like us to make, we're also we'll gladly do it. And yeah, this has been the interview. So before we close this, I'm just gonna say again, you can always follow us on social media. So we are on Facebook, we're on X, and we are on Twitter at no, we are on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram, not on X and Twitter. These are the same thing, at Sinclair Clarion. It's gonna take a while for me to get used to that new name. If you're listening to this on Spotify, we are at YouTube as well, at Sinclair Clarion, and LinkedIn as well, and also TikTok. I recently found out that we have a TikTok. I don't have TikTok. Yeah, so but a lot of people do. So if you want to follow us there as well, at Sinclair Clarion is the name. And also, if you want to be a guest in our podcast, you can email us at clarion.central@gmail.com. Or if you want to run ads on our podcast, which are always appreciated, you can also email us at clarion.central@gmail.com. We can both read the ads, or we can also display an ad here in our background. So if you are interested, please reach out and we can get in touch and plan that. And I believe this is all for now. Once again, Lieutenant, thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you all are doing a fantastic I hope you all are having a fantastic semester. And yeah, come on. We're done with midterms. Only halfway to go. See ya.
Thank you.